Todd, you're looking at me funny. You want to do that?
I do want to do that. I just was curious to know under what circumstances you were going to be able to do it.
Well, we can't vote on anything, so we can do.
We can do briefings and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Gwen and
Thank you.
Brendan, we're gonna get going.
What?
We're gonna start, even though we don't have a quorum, and hopefully folks will show up before we
We need one more?
vote on it.
Yeah,
all right.
I told you you need 7.
Yeah.
I've been here long enough.
All right, then why don't we go ahead and call the meeting to order? We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, perfect timing, Allison.
There we go.
There you go. Always making an entrance. We will start with hearings from citizens. We have 2.
Hi.
Laverne Sutton from NPBC. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank each of you for allowing myself and another person that's with me, a member, is Sally Goodlow this morning. I asked the administrator to pass something out to the board members this morning that I'm going to basically follow. Starting off with, an NPBC is New Prospect Baptist Church.
Hold on, does everyone get a copy of the
Hey, can we
document?
get something?
It's okay.
I didn't
I
get
think
one.
I have it. I'm sure it was, thank you.
Sorry to interrupt you. Yep.
That's okay.
Go ahead, we'll listen and
We'll
we'll look
start
at
off,
copies
we'll
later.
start off with the voices of the residents. We have a welcome committee at New Prospect Baptist Church, again, under the leadership of Pastor Damon Lynch, and we have reached out to the residents starting back in February of 22 to currently. We have met with residents in small groups consisting of seniors, veterans, and the chronically homeless. At each of these meetings, we ask them of their concerns, and we have had at least 6 different meetings at different times, because we also provide them welcome baskets and so forth and so on. And they voiced about their walk from Summit Road in order to have access to the Metro bus at 43. We verified with Metro Services and was informed that the residents that live on Summit Road and the surrounding streets, their only choice is to walk to Reading Road for bus 43. Our request of service, on behalf of the Welcome Committee, the residents of Summit Road and surrounding streets, we are asking the Metro Board of Trustees to consider adding a bus route from Section Road to Summit Road to Reading Road, specifically looking at a bus stop across the street from Summit East and 1579 Summit Road. How will these residents, how will this enhance their quality of life and the transportation from the Fort Reading to Summit? And also, I have to say, the surrounding streets. This will allow our residents to have easier access to and from work, doctor's appointments, downtown, child care, senior centers, connecting with family and friends, after-school programs, coming to, there are 3 churches in that specific area, being able to catch the bus and come to church as well. As I said, the 2 churches are Blessed Hope Seventh-day Adventist and our church, New Prospect Baptist Church. Petition and letter of support for Metro Board of Trustees. During these meetings, there was a lady that suggested that we petition, because we asked them, how can we take this further? And there was a lady in the meeting said, why can't we petition to support the cause? Why can't we petition to ask for the service? And I thought it was excellent that she came up with that idea. So we immediately got busy. We got busy, and we actually collected 495 signatures from the residents of Summit Road, the surrounding streets, and other residents from communities in support of our efforts to present to you this morning. We also asked the Roselawn Community Council to support us in our efforts. And what you will find is a letter of their support as well. So we are asking on the behalf of these residents, the seniors, the veterans, and the chronically homeless, of those people that live in that community, if you will consider a bus route within that area. Thank you, and I appreciate your attention.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here are the,
Thank you. Then,
here are the petitions.
Sally, is Goodley from New Prospect as well? Did I get your name right?
Sally Goodlow. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Ms. Laverne covered everything, I think, but I just like to know, what will it take to get a bus route in that area? Because I have the opportunity to be with the seniors weekly, and a lot of them made comments that I can ride the bus over here, but they can't ride the bus on to Redding Road and walk all the way up Summit to where the senior center is. So what will it take to get that bus route? That's what we're most interested in.
Yeah.
So I know I talked to Pastor Lynch, and he said they had talked about it maybe a few years ago, saying they would have to have a pad or something in our parking lot, you know, for the layover or whatever. I don't know what that was all about, but whatever we need to do, we're willing. With your help, we need that route.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so we'll have the planning department review it and see how we can fit it into existing structure and get back to you with what the options could be, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Yes, yes. Thanks.
in their letter, they said restored. Did it used to be there? or-
I don't, yeah.
Okay.
And that's the question I was gonna ask. Did you used to have that route?
There used to be a route
There
there,
used to
because
be
you
a
can
route.
see the poles still painted with the orange, so I don't know how long it's been gone. But there used to be a route on Sunday.
Summit and Edgewood, we saw this morning as we was leaving, and they said there used to be a route there.
Before you all leave, would you give Maria, if you raise your hand, will you make sure she has your contact information so we can get together and start working through this?
Sure. Thank you
Thank,
so much.
thank you all so much for
Appreciate
coming
you.
today. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. All right, don't walk away with that, I would get in trouble. Okay, no one else had signed up for public comment, is there anyone else? No, okay, thank you. So chairman update, brief couple of things. I did want to thank Steve Anderson and team for meeting me at Cincinnati State the other day. They've made a request too to make some changes on their site, so we'll see if we can make that work or not, but want to invest with us as they expand their service, so we'll see where that goes, but thank you. I also had a special note today. We do have a longstanding and devoted board member who's got past 10 years on the board. So want to present Gwen Robinson with her 10-year. I think the amount of change that has happened since you have been here, and most of it for the good, I would say. Picture with me, that's your big prize. And so that, we had no money, we had limited. And so now, right,
Put it
so
mildly.
we've come so far, and
Yeah.
it's a great testament to your
Thank
work on the
you.
board. So here you go.
Thank
Tenure.
you. And we also have a wonderful board and a terrific staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen.
Now, can I get the coach award?
Well, unfortunately,
You have
what
to
you
drive.
have to do, exactly.
If you do that, you have to drive. You have to start driving. If you,
We don't want that to happen.
Thank you so much.
So thank you. But otherwise, we're a little bit behind, so we'll just jump into the action item. Did you have a question for me? You were looking at me. No? Okay. I always try to keep Donna happy, right? That's what we do around here. So what you will see, the first action item is approval of the board minutes from June 23rd. They're in the board packet. Hopefully you've had a chance to review. I would be open to motions to approve.
I'll move it with a friendly amendment to note you as the chair and not the vice chair.
Oh, is it? I keep trying. Thank you.
Soon enough.
Something you want to say, Craig?
All right.
Second.
Second. Probably moved and seconded with a friendly amendment of clarification. Any questions, comments? All in favor? say aye.
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 All opposed, say right. Okay, minutes approved. Rod, do you want to give us an update from the Finance Committee?
Yes, it was a pretty robust conversation. I'm kidding, by the way. No, Larry, I briefly talked about some of the structural changes he's making in his office, which I said it was not the purview of the board, but I also thought it was important for us to know that he is shoring up his staff, replacing Cindy, getting an internal audit position and some other things that he'll be working through. We went through the P&L statement for the month, which looked actually really good in terms of ridership and generated revenue as a result. And I've continued to say that I think we are looking at the ARP funds and get really comfortable with the idea that we're doing really well. We have a $5 million surplus this month, but we have to continue to see the rise in ridership and fare revenue. So, and we went through our infrastructure report and our investment reports, and so you'll hear about some of that, and Larry will talk about our P&L a little bit later. So.
All right. Any questions for Rod? No? Also talked about fuel hedging, which is always an exciting topic.
Oh, I always exclude that one.
And so we've done a good job, and the hedging work that was done is paying off. So thank you to the team for that. Sarah, you can take us through
Sure.
planning and ops. All right.
Yep. So we had a very busy Planning and Operations Committee meeting, and as you can see, there are several action items, most of which are very straightforward. The first couple are approval of contract modifications. I'm not sure, Craig, if I'm supposed to go through each one.
No, we can
for a
do-
vote, or they're all on the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't want to go through each one because there's just a lot of them, but if anybody has any questions about these contract modifications or the purchasing of vehicles, technology for the buses, the APC hardware installation, we heard about all of these, and like I said, they're all pretty straightforward.
Right, so we can just, so the board talked to them in great detail, and I thought they were fairly standard things to take to the consent agenda, which is the purpose of the consent agenda. So I think I would move to vote on them.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
does this go all the way through 11?
No, just
No.
through 8. Just through 8.
So I will move to approve all of the resolutions that are on the consent agenda.
Allison, did you want to second that?
Second.
Allison has seconded it, so properly moved and seconded. Any questions?
Yes.
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 Did we get through everyone? Did Sarah get asked? Okay. Passed. There you go. Okay, great. Then let's go to those items not on the consent agenda, Sarah.
Yeah, and I am going to defer to Donna, if I could, to explain the resolution to the approval of the Second Amendment, approval of the second addendum to the amendment to the 1973 intergovernmental agreement between the city and SORTA. I am not confident in my abilities to explain this.
Or it's
legal
hard to
one.
say even, right? It's
So,
hard to say.
yeah. So if I could defer to Donna
think
to
that's
explain it,
appropriate.
that'd be great.
Okay, this dates back to the original agreement between SORTA and the city, which governed our operations. Because we were funded with a sales tax from the city of Cincinnati. When the levy passed, we signed an amendment to that agreement, which covered things like the transit fund balance coming to us and holding some of those funds in case the city had to refund individual taxes, things like that. So we signed that one. We did an addendum to that agreement when the bike trail, when you authorized the bike trail on the Oasis line, that set aside $3 million to pay for the bike trail. So this is a second addendum to this agreement to clarify some of those points, as well as address the transfer of the Queensgate property from the city to SORTA. So the Queensgate property, the original deed included McLean Street, running all along the side of the garage. SORTA does not want to own a city street. It needs a lot of maintenance and upkeep and will be that way for years to come. So we've reached an agreement with the city where paying them $1.5 million will bring the street up to city standards, repair it, and they will separate the street from the Queensgate deed, transferring the Queensgate property only to SORTA. So all of that is covered in this second addendum to the amendment, which, as you can tell, legal counsel had some writing in that.
Yeah, and I think, if everyone just at a high level, right, remember that there was a lot more in that fund than we
Yes.
expected, and so we've been able to work through a number of things, which is great, right?
Yes.
So it also had some timing issues, right? So the money had to be transferred to us by the end of June, I guess, technically. And so this is just finishing that as we move forward. So
Yes.
then we get the properties that we had negotiated for. We eliminate the ongoing maintenance requirements for the street in McLean, sets aside the money for the bike trail. And then we'll continue to hold some funds in reserve in case the taxes, there's a clawback there. So if you remember what happened, there's a lot of discussions about, as folks have not been coming into the office in Cincinnati, were they going to get big rebates of their taxes? And so the city's been very worried about that. It's in the news in other ways too. But so we're holding back that portion that might sort of come back and hit us, that portion of the tax that we got from a couple years ago. Make sense to everybody?
It also does, for the bike trail, Craig, it also gives them a deadline for that.
2024?
2024, yes.
June 2nd, 2024, I think.
The day after my
If
birthday.
it isn't signed, then this is,
We get the money.
yeah.
And then it moves all of the money that's in Fund 759 over to SORTA and not kept at the city any longer. It will then bring all of that money over to us.
In 24 or?
No, no.
Now.
Now,
Okay,
we're
so
just saying,
it's all coming over now, and then we are saying what we're going to.
yeah, we're setting aside, like earmarking it for these.
All but 1.5 million they're keeping.
Yes,
Yes.
What is in there?
9.5,
That's for the main.
approximately 9.5.
And you're about to do,
You're encumbered, 9.5's in there, 1.5 is going to them, which leaves 8, so 6 is
7.5.
set aside, 3 to
That comes
hold,
back
so you
here.
got 2 to
So
do.
the 3 million for the clawback of the taxes, we already have that on our books. So that's not part of the 9.5.
We thought we were only going to hold it until July 1st of this year,
Yeah,
but
and
it's
then for a
now
little longer.
gone up to the Ohio Supreme Court. The
Yes.
case has, so we need to hold it for another year.
But that 3 million is already on our books right now. It's already at SORTA. So of the 9.5, it's the 3 for the bicycle path and the 1.5 for McLean Street.
And then the rest is just.
Yes.
I mean, you can take that $9 million.
I think fortunately, the news that out of the city so far, I mean, aware of the Supreme Court case, which I think is to whether or not you have to automatically do refunds, which hopefully will not come to pass. But so far, at least what we've seen is that there hasn't been a large number of people who have been asking for those refunds. And so the city hasn't had to do a bunch of refunds. So hopefully that $3 million will end up with the majority of it in a year being able to say it moves into our
Yes.
books.
Yes.
Good.
I have a question about the 1.5. I'm
Yeah.
not entirely clear. So we're giving the city 1.5 million to do street repairs, and then that's it. We don't have any obligation going forward to
Correct.
fund any further
Yes, that's correct.
city street maintenance.
And they're keeping the street,
Right,
right?
they go
Taking
to
the
the
street.
street.
So we have no reason for the street. It just came with the Queensgate
Right.
garage. And so because the post office is at the other end of the street, there's a lot of push to fix it. So we are agreeing, to, it's sort of like, we're giving you $1.5 million so you get this property. Seems like a weird thing.
So we currently have it.
Right.
And
Well,
it came with our
we don't
property.
have it because we haven't finished the deed on the Queensgate property. But if as it stands today, we would take it with that property when it comes to us, if that makes sense.
And then we'd end up repairing that street years and years and years.
It really, it's a cost avoidance.
Yeah, no,
insurance.
I understand why we don't want it long-term. I'm
Yeah.
just,
think we were all unaware it was attached to the deed.
Quite frankly, I'm not sure the city even, I mean,
Well,
so,
they say they went back and found that it is attached and that it needs to be separated.
but it lets us have the garage, unencumbers us for future obligation.
It's just a little counterintuitive
It
to
is,
pay somebody
absolutely.
$1.5 million to take a street.
But, I mean, the difference is we pay the 1.5 million to fix it anyway.
Agreed. I get
So-
it.
But yes, that was the same thing. I said, what?
And that is the cost to repair the street.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions about this one? Well, then I will move to approve the proposed resolution 2022-29.
I'll second it. Put my name on the, in case somebody gets in trouble.
Okay, roll call. Ms. Sheets,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Cassie,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Ms. Burdon.
Yes.
It's approved.
Getting closer to being finished with all that, so thank you. Okay.
And then this last one, we did not have on the agenda at the Planning and Operations Committee, so this is new. It is the approval of the agreement with CPS. Again, which looks straightforward, but does anyone want to give us an update about that?
Yeah.
So we've, over the course of the last couple of weeks, we're just about completely finished with our CPS negotiations. The contract for the year moving forward, it's a one-year contract with options to renew, and it is the same service that we provided this past school year. It is regular service. All the prices are the same, $315 per year for the students. Discounted one-ride tickets, $1.25. They have decided to move the 7th and 8th graders over to Yellow Bus, over to school service. But they are also asking us if a 7th and 8th grader has an extracurricular activity, that they could use Metro to get home on their extracurricular activity. We've agreed to that. It was part of our previous contract for any school not using Metro service. It's $38.50 per semester for them to use Metro service to get home. The only piece that isn't completely done yet is the time that they want the passes to be good for. Last year it was 6 o'clock to 6:30. We haven't completely settled on that. They've also asked for Saturday. Last year we agreed to allow them to use the passes on Saturday, and then their board said they did not want to have the kids use their passes on the weekend. We're working through that last piece of when the passes would be active. It is not a point of contention, but that is the last piece. Their board will vote on this contract on August the 1st. So we're asking our board to pass this contract with just that last piece to be
That
finished.
Saturday is a perk for them, because even if they go to work, whatever they do, it's a perk
Yes.
for the kids
Abs-
using our service. I just hope that we
Absolutely.
have some quality control in place for the passes,
Yes.
so that we don't leave that many on the table.
Yes. So one of the things, in the past, they've always asked for a pass for every single student that qualifies for a pass. This year, they took a look at the students that did not use their passes last year, and they're not asking for passes for those students that didn't use their passes last year. We are working together, and they've given us their plan for communicating with the parents of what bus and what time. So as in previous years, other than last year, this year they will be communicating with the parents so we can avoid some of that confusion that happened there as well. The other piece of the contract is they're going to pay for the passes that we provide for them and for our staff time to actually encode those passes.
That's good,
Is that a new?
That is new.
that's good.
Daryl, how are they communicating with the parents? Do we know?
They will actually be sending a card to every parent of what bus the student catches, where they catch the bus, how to catch the bus. So there'll be a card that goes to each one. And we've always gone to their orientations. SORTA staff is at their orientations to make sure the parents understand. They have several other events, things like picnics and whatnot. And we have been invited to all of their outreach to their parents, and we will be at all of the outreach that the CPS does for the parents. So we're going to have even a bigger partnership this year of making sure the parents understand
Right.
how to use Metro service, where the kids catch the service and whatnot.
And do you know, I mean, the school year's kind of upon us, really, so
It is
have they done
right
it?
around the corner. They are voting on this contract on August the 1st.
Are they
Okay,
prepared
I
to do the
guess- yeah, I
communication
guess-
is what she's asking.
Yes. We have been told yes, and we actually have a copy of their communications plan.
Is there a press release at any point to talk about this partnership? Somehow that's a mending opportunity.
It is our plan to do a joint press release
Do a-
with
well, press
CPS this
conference.
year.
I would rather see
Yes.
a press face,
And-
face to face.
And they have agreed for us to do a joint press release this
Okay,
year as well.
release, but
Yes.
there's a difference between that release and
She's
that.
suggesting you do it in front of the camera
In
so
front
it
of the
can't be
camera.
changed on you, right?
Because people need to see you and know that you're together on this. Press release words get
Yes.
construed or translated any way they want to translate it. If you see it in person, I think parents and the community at large would see that there is a partnership there.
At our last negotiation, we actually went out and took a picture together that we're going to post on both of our
Okay.
I'll give the superintendent a lot of credit. In the meeting last
Right
night,
is good.
there's very much, a spirit of partnership, and really was sort of representing, I thought, Metro quite well
She's
into those
good.
discussions. And the communication is it's interesting because I know there's the school board has always taken the CPS has taken responsibility for that communication. They're the ones that chose not to do it last year, and then there has been a lot of complaining about it that seems to be directed toward us that I think is not really appropriate.
Right.
So they have a plan. They had a plan last year, but we expect them to follow it. So.
I mean, and is there anything, obviously, I know we, can't and shouldn't communicate directly with families, but is there anything we can do from a communications perspective, just to the general public, to say, this is what's happening?
We're going to do a Q&A, a fact sheet, and we're going to put it on their website. We're going to put it on our website as well. So there'll be a place on both websites that people can go to get answers to questions that they have.
And then I know Steve and team go to each school during their orientations to meet
Sure.
with. So
That's a good thing, but I still think that public display kicks it off.
So, sorry, Brendan. So could a middle school student have a pass if, like, they have a sibling and they want to ride the bus home together or
So-
to and from school together?
The middle school kids, they can. And there are some 7th and 8th graders that CPS said if they have a high school student and they want to put them on Metro Bus, we said we will allow them
Okay.
to put them on Metro Bus.
Great.
we're
They'll
not
just pay the
Yeah.
$350.
we're not excluding folks from Metro Bus.
Just
We
want to make
we're
sure
responding to
families can
requests.
stay together.
Yeah.
So in the case of that family, that middle school child would then request directly from their school as well to get the pass, or how would that,
They have to
what
do
are
it
the
through CPS.
logistics?
Through
They would
CPS
just
has to
contact
provide
the
us-
district.
Yeah.
So CPS gives us a list of the students that they want passes for.
Yeah.
We generate those passes and deliver them to their transportation department.
Yeah.
And we even do that throughout the school year. So if there's new students throughout the school year, they just request a pass for those new students. We create them and send them up to their transportation department.
I feel like that's something that should be publicized, because otherwise folks might not know. If all they hear is that CPS has decided to put 7th and 8th graders on yellow bus, it might not be clear to them that if they have an older sibling or whatever, they can still request the pass.
Yes.
I don't know if you agree with that,
Yeah,
Sarah.
yeah.
This is what gets interesting about what we're
Yes.
communicating versus what the school system needs to.
Understood.
And I'll have a
But at least in a
conversation.
conversation with CPS
Yeah.
about how they're communicating. I think
Yeah.
that that's a point worth making.
And I will say the new superintendent and I, we have a really good relationship. We talk constantly. We were on the phone literally all weekend, back and forth. And the negotiations have gone really well this year.
She's, what I know of her, I've met her a couple times already, seems like just an outstanding partner and just a
No
great
question about it.
rep for CPS. I'm just, maybe brain fog. Last year, did the 7th and 8th graders ride Metro? And so
Yes.
the new thing is that the 7th and 8th graders are gonna be on yellow.
Yes.
And to your question, if there's a 9th grader in the house and the 7th grader can ride yellow to the same place, can the 9th grader then ride yellow?
No.
We don't control that, but
The way they have it set up is that the high school students will be on Metro, and this is,
Even if they're going to the same, they're all going to the same buildings, right?
Yep.
we don't control that, CPS does.
No, I
The
understand.
discussions with us is, would we be okay if the 7th grader wanted to use Metro?
Yeah, well, of course,
Yes,
because we would contend that's a perfectly great way to get to
yes.
school. And I'm, maybe, is their issue that they have to pay per head on yellow? Is that how that works?
They do, and I assume that is part of their issue. Yeah.
Okay,
And I haven't seen their yellow bus contract, so I can't speak to
I
it.
got it.
What we can say is that providing this service, and I guess you could argue whether it's equivalent or not, I think it's pretty darn close based on the results we had, that it's $5 million cheaper for CPS than it was 3 years ago.
Our new system.
Yes.
And every kid gets to, yeah, it's great.
Yes.
Good job.
Steve, is your presentation finished, or?
You said it live.
Steve, I'm sorry.
It's the best kind of presentation, if you ask me.
Standing, that's all he's doing.
No questions.
That was my way. I wanted to hear, sorry. Sorry.
Maybe he's the right person, because it was prefaced with this is just kind of straightforward, yet we have these changes. So I don't know if I've heard this, but can somebody go through what were the changes in this one versus the old one?
The old contract had extra service in it. This contract does not.
You mean 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Well, the
Well,
contract had it, but yeah.
The contract allowed for extra service. It wasn't a guarantee, but it allowed for it. This contract does not allow for it.
So extra service is different. 7th and 8th grade is different.
Yes.
Are you talking about from 2 years ago or from last year?
Well, no.
Last year's
I'm talking about
contract
from
was, last year we did something different, but it fit under the same contract.
Got it. And to the talking point question that Allison had, I just remember getting a lot of questions as a board member around school time. It was in the news quite a bit. It doesn't seem like it will be as contentious. Hopefully there won't be
So
protests outside my office, but I would say that perhaps, if the comms team could do some kind of hey, if you're asked about this, here's how you can talk about it, and then here's the website you can go to, or just something so that we have to as kind of being out and about, so that if a mom or a dad calls us, or you see something on Facebook, you can kind of give them a direction where to go. That'd be helpful.
Yes, and we're also excited about the additional opportunities we're going to have this school year to interact with the parents, to talk about the service this year, because the education piece seemed to be what was missing last year.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and the other thing, they did a nice job talking about this sort of, every student we believe can get to school with one transfer.
Yes.
Right?
Or less.
Or less. And I know that came up in sort of a way of, I don't trust Metro from some of the board members last night on CPS. And so, but the super did say we're going through every student to make sure that's the case, and we'll work on it. That's not our obligation to make sure, but that's the goal, right? That our service can do that and should. So,
And I'll also add to that, last school year, we actually sent them the file of every student and what buses they could take. And the file that we sent them didn't require any student to make more than one transfer.
they could choose to do it in other
They
ways.
could choose to do it.
So,
But there was a route that they could take where there was one transfer or less.
Thank you. So I will move to approve the agreement with CPS.
how's that? All right. Properly moved and seconded. Any additional comments, questions?
I just have one additional comment
Okay.
to Daryl and the team. This has been a long and difficult process, and it seems like we're headed in a really good direction. And so I just want to commend you all for that. And I'm sure getting through the beginning of the school year will have its challenges, like it always does. But it seems like it's headed in a good direction. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I just want to congratulate all of you on that.
Thank you very much. Our driving principles are always about the kids and what's best and safest for the kids, within what we can actually do. So that we focus on the kids and making sure every kid can get to school in the environment that we're in. So that's always our driving principle. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and hopefully this, I mean, it seems like it's the beginning, or rather a continuation of a good partnership with
Yes.
CPS. So.
I believe so.
And we'll have folks at all the high schools, right, as school starts, and just like we did last year.
Yes.
So, all right. Thank you.
Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Cassie,
Yep.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Sheets, Ms. Bourdon,
Yes.
and Mr. Cole.
Yes.
All right. That's exciting. That is exciting. Robert, you want to talk about the Paratransit Committee?
I tell you, I am really happy to talk about it. We have decided, the board, for a while to really take a good look at especially our paratransit system and to see how we can make it better and more inclusive and more usable. And I am just excited that a week or so ago we had our first good meeting with the users or shareholders who need to use transportation because of their disabilities and sometimes the inability to successfully use the regular system. And this paratransit system that we're looking at, the changes and the upgrades that we're in the process of making will do that and will go a long way to do it. It's going to take about another year or maybe two, but we are on the way. And I just give honor especially to the staff member here, especially, Halit Samut, who is just taking not only a lead, but he's just moving us forward in a really good way. We have a Lisa, who is our person that is really being a consultant for us as to how to make it integrated, how to pull in all of the people who are needed. In other words, what I'm talking about at this point is the users of the system, the Cincinnati Association for the Blind, the Silos, Center for Independent Living Options, which works with various people with disabilities. We had approximately 20 of these carriers and workers in a meeting, and they are all gung-ho on how to work to make it work. And I just, Halit, if you don't mind, would you give just a little bit of an overview of what we have put forth and what we're going to put forth? Could I trouble you to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And as you all know, Robert has been an integral part of this since last year when we first did the study. The study we did last year identified 13 projects that we as a region, we need to implement to improve paratransit mobility across the entire region. So now we're starting this phase that Robert just talked about, where we have a consultant who's helping us to implement these 13 projects, from having a one call center where customers, paratransit customers will call only one phone number to make their reservations regardless of where they are in our region, or whether they want to use SORTA service or Butler County service or what have you. Also have a unified scheduling software so that we can schedule trips in a more efficient way across the entire region. Having a way to share the resources among these agencies. Some agencies like us, we're big, we have resources. Other agencies, or like in Indiana or in Kentucky, Northern Kentucky, may not have enough resources to do certain things, maintenance related or grant writing. So we share our resources to help the other agencies. Have a uniformed eligibility program. So if an individual is in the Butler County paratransit system, they're automatically accepted by our access service, by Northern Kentucky service, et cetera, et cetera. So they don't have to go through that eligibility program with each of these agencies. So the whole premise of these
projects, identified projects, as we said, and Robert articulated that, is really to help ease and facilitate the mobility of paratransit customers across the entire region. Most of these 13 projects, at least 8 or 9 or 10, maybe 10, we should be able to complete within 2-year period. There are 2 that will take longer than that just because of the complexity and the technology. One call center and unified scheduling. Those would probably be complete in 3 to 4 years from now. But the entire group, as Robert said, we are 20 individuals representing all of these agencies, and they were very ecstatic that we are really now starting to implement these projects.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again, thank you. I'm just happy that we have taken this on, and I know we have the support of the board, and I really appreciate the support of the board. And it's going to get more exciting as we go forward, and you will see what we have desired from day one, especially when we were talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act, to be inclusive and to be a powerful force in helping people be all that they can be and be truly members of this society. So thank you, board. Thank you, community, for supporting us as we go forward to make this world a better place for all of us, with and without disabilities. So,
Thank
Chairman,
you for your leadership
thank
on
you.
this, Robert. I think this is really, it maybe doesn't get as much publicity as it should. I think this is the most exciting thing we're doing, and I think it's public-private partnership. It's truly regional. When he says regional, he doesn't mean Hamilton County. He means all the transit agencies in the tri-state region, and really, it's going to change lives. And this is an area that we probably historically haven't focused enough on. So I'm really excited about it, and I thank you, and I thank you, Khaled, for your leadership
thank you.
as well. So. Any questions for the gang? More to come.
All right, more to come.
More to come. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Okay, I think, Khaled, are you going to give a update on?
Sure. Before I do that, today I came to the office a bit early, 7:30, dealt with a few emails here and there, and had good sense of accomplishment until I met board member Sarah this morning. So apparently she had biked all the way to downtown, then swam 1,500 yards, and then walked to this meeting before 9 a.m. I'm sorry. And then she's going to take the bus back, right?
There you go.
So an update on the Transit Infrastructure Fund. We started by wanting to update you on this year, but then Heidi, the chair of the committee, suggested that just because we have new members on the board, if I would just give a brief background information about the program, so we're all on the same page. So bear with me if you've been here longer than 8 months or so. As you know, a couple of years ago, we passed the levy, issue 7, and the purpose of that issue 7 was twofold. First, to improve, to provide funding for transit, but equally important was to provide funding for the roads and bridges and local infrastructure. The ballot language specifically said that 25% of the 0.8 cents would be dedicated to the local road infrastructure, which is 0.2 cents of the 0.8 cents. And we all know that the levy passed, and once it passed, we started working on developing that program from scratch. Lucky for us, the county's integrating committee has had a similar program for almost 30-some years, through which they provide about $10 million in funds for local infrastructure projects. So we worked with them. There was no point of reinventing the wheel. So we took actually their program, we changed it, we adapted it to our needs because theirs is not transit specific. So we made changes to their program and so on. And then we ended up with a document that is kind of similar in spirit to what they have, and which the community has been using for 30-some years. So it wasn't a new thing to the entire community. The basic process for this program was we would call for projects, and the municipalities will submit applications that they want this much money for this project or this much funding and so on. SORTA, through its staff or consultants, will evaluate these projects. We rank them, we score them. The board will give their thumbs up, and then we'll take it to the integrating committee, who has the final approval of these projects. So that's the process that we established. So once we created the program, we had to take it to the board for official approval, and that's what we did last year. And by February, the guidelines document, which is this, and it's on our website, was completed. We took the program as well as the guidelines document to this board March 9th of last year, and the board, to the committee on the 9th of March, and then March 16th of last year, the board approved the program and the guidelines document. And at the same time, we had a procurement going on to hire consultants who would help in the evaluation and scoring of the projects. So round one last year, after the board approved the program, we put out a call for projects April 1st. We gave the communities 3 months to submit their applications, which they did by June 30th. And by end of August, we had reviewed the scoring, the application, scored them, then took them to the board in September, and to the integrating committee in October for final approval. Next slide, please. There was quite a bit of excitement about the program, really, and the communities were really enthusiastic about it. We did quite a bit of marketing of the program. We had several meetings where all communities were invited to participate and to learn about the program. So round one, we received 32 proposals, 2 of which were not eligible because they were submitted by private developers. So 30 projects were eligible that came from 22 different municipalities and townships. That's almost half of the municipalities in Hamilton County, which was really great.
And it was fun, to the point of the slide, right?
Sorry?
It said it was the transportation.
It was.
Fun, and I think that's right. It was fun.
Sorry. Good catch. Good catch. So the interesting thing, one of the most interesting projects was the Western Hills Viaduct. And we were in a very, I guess, lucky position last year that we were able to fund each and every project, 100% of their eligible request, including the Western Hills Viaducts, which received $205 million over 25 years. And then the rest of the project, as I said, they were all funded at 100% of the eligible cost. So that was a really great success story. Next slide, please. And earlier this year, we had the signing ceremony. And again, that was a huge success. 20 of the 22 municipalities were present in person to sign these agreements. We had our board members there. Senator Brown sent a video, and other representatives. Commissioner Driehaus was there as well, and Jeff from APTA. It was a great ceremony, and everybody was very, very happy to have received the funds. Year 2, this year, we're going through the same process. April 1st, we put out the call for projects, and we're maintaining pretty much the same deadlines. They have until the end of they had until the end of June to submit, which they did. Next slide, please. So by end of day, June 30th, we received 40 proposals from 26 different municipalities. Now, the ones in red are new ones. Those are the ones who, this is the first time they're submitting, so they did not submit last year. About 11 or 12 of them. So it's really getting, it's getting more and more momentum. And next slide, please. And they're asking for more money now, which is a good thing. The total project costs is about $75.5 million. They're asking for about $44.5 million, which is about 60%. So on average, they're asking for 60% of the cost, the project cost. Last year, that ratio was much lower, so they were asking for less money as a proportion of the total project cost. This year, they're asking for more money, which is a good sign, again, that they have the confidence in this program. So right now, we are in the process of evaluating the projects. Our consultants are busy doing that. They should complete that by end of August. And then the plan is to come to you in September for your approval of the projects, and then we'll take them to the integrating committee for their final approval sometime in October.
Any questions?
Sure.
The 44 million, how much do we have available?
52 million.
No. You don't have
No.
52 million available.
No.
We have 52 million in cash.
That's right, yes.
So it's the last year's receipts less the 8 million already approved, right?
That's
So it's
correct.
like 27 million or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 27 we have to fund of the 44.
Yes, it's approximately about $30 million a year that the sales tax generate at that 0.2%. But we've already awarded the 8.2 million for the next 25 years. So it's the approximately $30 million that comes in, and it comes in by month. So at the end of the year, we can tell you guys exactly how much because it comes in by the month.
Yeah.
But it's approximately $30 million. But 8.2 has already been awarded over the 25 years for the viaduct.
So we said we would authorize based on the last year's receipts, which I thought was closer to 35. But anyway, okay, so we have, so it's less than the 44 is what I was trying to get to.
Correct. It's less than 44.
We will not be able to fund all of the projects this year, and that was expected this year.
Do we have the information on what project has started or completed from last year?
Yes. So they have 1 year to start their construction. There are a few who already started, and we're in communications, and they're keeping us updated. And maybe I should have added that picture, but one of the requirements is that they have to put a 4x8 signs at the construction site that has Metro's logo and saying funded, partially funded by Metro and so on. And we have at least one of those pictures. Maybe next time I'll make sure to share that.
But I think it would be good to say, of the projects approved, here's the funding status and those kind of things, and how much we've issued out, right?
I didn't see Chelsea come in.
Yes.
Who came up with the scoring matrix, whatever the scoring rubric is? Consultants, internal to SORTA, how do we do that?
So as I said, initially we built the program and the guidelines document around the integrated committee's program, and we took their scoring criteria and we used it for ours last year with minor tweaks here and there. After round one, we took a second look at the criteria and we simplified it in terms of the scoring. It still has the same weight. So let's say criterion one had 20% of the total score. With the new scoring, it's like 19%. So that weight did not change. It's just we made it easier to score things. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
It's
just
very similar to what the integrating committee has been doing for 30 years.
Yeah.
based on ODAT, I think.
So
with
we
like
didn't reinvent the
guidelines.
wheel?
No.
And that was kind of.
Modified it, got input.
I think
And they have
Brendan.
the final say over the program.
Brendan.
On the list that you have in the presentation, what's fiber?
I think that's a city project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're trying to run fiber optics, which will help them improve and update their signal systems.
Huh, that's clever.
May not be eligible.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but you know, why not give it a shot? And then there's a couple that have active transportation. What is that?
Yeah, I need to go back and refresh my memory on these two. Yeah.
Last page in the project type. Okay,
Yeah.
no problem. Just
Yeah.
curious. I think the total project cost number's my favorite number because it, you know, what we're gonna do then hopefully is spur all of these projects to get done, which is just a huge economic lift for the region. So, you know, we can give $30 million, and if that enables $65 million worth of infrastructure projects, that's tremendous. That's a huge boost to the economy, so.
Yeah.
Really.
And I assume that they're asking for more money because all this stuff costs more now, just given inflationary environment, so that's
Probably.
Right.
also to be expected.
Like they have wall rehab, which wall are they talking about in the city?
I'm sorry?
Wall rehab, the city is looking at wall rehab, and which wall is that in the city?
Yeah, I can't remember which specific wall, but it was related to some retaining walls on some infrastructure locations. Yeah.
If you've got some specific questions, let us know. We'll.
No, I mean, that's good. I'm just still waiting for College Hill and Mount Health.
But remember, by the time we approve these, we'll have all the details and the packages and things
Yeah.
like that. It's exciting reading.
I was hoping it's not a wall that's gonna come down anyway soon.
I'm really happy to see the number of new communities who've come into this grant.
Absolutely.
particularly The smaller ones.
Yeah.
And I'm curious.
That was a
to know
concern.
if, that was a result of outreach to them, or did they just hear about the program from the first round and say, oh, we want to apply now? How did that come to be?
I'm sure that's both. We've done a lot of outreach.
Yeah.
But the success of the program the first year, that we were actually
That was a good
able to
thing, yes.
fund 100% of the eligible projects. We expected this year
Yeah.
the ask to be much bigger.
And I think the marketing, it's the two sides of the marketing of the program before, but also the marketing we did after round one, and the announcements and the signing ceremony that got into the news. I think that encouraged others as well.
That's great.
And I know that was one of our big concerns, right? That it all go to one or two
Right,
big municipalities. So it's fantastic that we're getting the breadth
A good
throughout the
thing.
county. So thank you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
The other thing I do want to make sure, just, you know, broadly, part of the program was that we would set aside 5% of 1 year's receipts that could be used in case of emergencies in the county. So I know we had another landslide, I think, on Columbia Place. So there's $1.5 million out there that's available for request through the commissioners. If you know of if emergency happens in your, part of the county, or you know of one where
I
that,
didn't know that. That's great.
I don't know that folks, pay attention to it, but it's there just in case.
And that is funded.
It's awesome.
When we were in the midst of approving the projects as well, they said that, I thought that we had talked about there would be some type of a ceremony that would be done at certain sites, and, Metro would get some FaceTime with that. Has that happened? I hadn't seen anything.
We haven't done any ceremonies at sites yet, but the signs are going up that are saying funded by SORTA infrastructure funds. I'm sure there will be some as some of these projects really begin to move.
Daryl, is the 5% on the cash or on what's available?
It's what's available. It's actually is cash in the bank. So if there was an emergency project, it could get funded right now.
With the bridge collapsed. Just to be aware of it in case, aware of a crisis situation. All right, exciting.
What is the status of the Western Hills IDOT? Where are we as far as that project?
I believe the parties are still trying to figure out exactly how much it's going to cost, number one. And they're trying to figure out how to use the financing from our flow of funds that they could generate, right? Borrow money to do it up front. So I don't think there's any real groundbreaking yet, right? There's been some, I think, acquisition of properties and things. So they haven't not signed. They're the only one of those projects where they haven't signed the agreement with us. So we're still waiting for some final pieces to that. They haven't got any money from us yet. Any more questions on that? Thanks, exciting stuff. Larry, over to you.
Good morning. On the screen, you'll have access to the June Statement of Operations. Just got a few comments to ground the group around what our performance was like in the prior 30-day period. Looking at just a couple comments here to give some context to the P&L results. I've got a chart that captures a 3-month trend of our fare revenue over the April through June 22 time period. A couple key takeaways as we look at this chart of particular note. The fare revenue is in the green, and as you can see, charting over the 3-month period, it is trending up. A function of many things that we've got going on in our service portfolio, in addition to marketing efforts that have really started to take hold for the organization. Student revenue, which is in the orange, is trending down. Obviously, the key driver there is the CPS contract coming to closure during the month of June. Obviously, school, that's right, that's correct. And then the last point around access, which is in the blue, access is relatively flat over this 3-month period. Next chart gives some context to our operating expenses over the same 3-month period. In the green, we've got wages and benefits. We have had some one-time events that have affected our results, specifically in the month of June. You can see that's been trending up over the period as well. One-time events such as uniform purchases, which are completely up to the operator on when those would be replaced. The chart or the bar in the orange represents our fuel and lubricants, and this is a function of cost increases over the 3-month period. We are in an inflationary environment, so perfectly understandable there. And then the other key takeaway here revolves around parts and supplies, which is trending up as well, which is a function of body shop repairs and general maintenance on vehicles. And then a couple summary comments relative to our P&L. The details attached in the group. I'm not going to talk through the P&L in detail, but in terms of summary comments, key takeaways for the group, we were at $16.8 million favorable to budget, which translates into we were at $16.8 million, which is favorable to budget $4.4 million. Total expense for the period, $11.6 million, which is favorable to budget $786,000. And then our surplus for the month of June stands at $5.2 million. We note here that ridership is slightly unfavorable to budget at 64.4, which translates into 9.8%. And then looking at a couple specific comments on revenue just to ground the group. Total fares, we are favorable to budget at 5.2%. Root cause there revolves around bulk passes being sold to businesses and organizations. Other contract revenue is $33,000 unfavorable to budget, which is a function of business and university contracts being lower than budget. County sales tax is actually $1.5 million favorable to budget. And again, this comes back to the planning assumptions that are in place relative to the timing of cash receipts associated with the sales tax revenue. And then we know an ongoing ARP is favorable. ARP competitive grant is favorable, $2.7 million to budget, which again is an unbudgeted item. And then lastly, on revenue, non-transportation revenue is at $129,000 favorable, which is completely driven by our investment income. And then finally, looking at expenses, wages and benefits are $93,000 unfavorable to budget for the month. Root cause there, unscheduled overtime in response to driver staffing shortages, which we are continuing to push through. I know there are tremendous efforts coming out of HR to get us to fully staffed, and we're looking forward to our overtime expense dropping as a direct result of filling those open positions. Fuel and lubricants, at least that is the hope and the prayer, okay? Fuel and lubricants, $132,000 unfavorable to budget. Again, we know that we're in an inflationary environment with pretty much all the needs that are required to keep our fleet fully functional. And then lastly, all other is $995,000 favorable to budget. Root cause there being transition and timing in support of a marketing campaign, in addition to favorable expense associated with planned use of external vendors by our planning and innovation department. And this concludes my summary comments.
Larry, I thought excuse me if I'm just not very smart today, but how is revenue up and ridership down?
Again, this
How
is
we
a,
fix that?
right, so this is a function of, to budget, okay? The comment here is to budget.
Oh, is it the sales tax?
Sales tax, right.
So, one of the other challenges to the budget and P&L this year is we did this budget last year, and COVID has changed everything. So one of the things that we're running this year is we're running more service in the summer this year than we'd actually budgeted for last year. So there isn't one thing that has changed because of COVID. There are several things that have changed. So under normal conditions, your revenue and your expenses kind of follow each other. But because we're in this COVID world, I'm sure you're all experiencing the same thing in your businesses. It isn't necessarily one-to-one. This year, we are doing a lot of things in our marketing to really drive ridership up. So we're seeing some success in driving that ridership up. So we're seeing some better success in the revenue.
Yeah, and if I would have just gone down one more section, I would have figured out the numbers. We talked. That's all we talked about last week anyway.
It is exciting where we're going as we hopefully move out of COVID. You know, some of the things that we're doing, and I'll talk a little bit about in my Metro on the Move, some of the successes we're having with our marketing program.
You know, my favorite part about moving out of COVID is not saying the word COVID ever again.
Okay, any questions for Larry?
I like the new format, looks good.
I do too.
Charts and everything, nice job.
More succinct. Thank you.
Try to make it a little bit easier to follow for the group.
Yeah.
I like a lot
Especially
more
for the
detail.
neophyte.
I say, I read the P&L, I don't read the other.
Try to ask a question.
We got about 32 million cash in hand. What's our average weighted interest rate on that right now?
We are in about a 1.6, 1.7%. Okay, and our cash on hand is much stronger than that figure. Yeah, we've got $52 million in the infrastructure fund alone. I can quote the exact number.
And so what's the plan kind of to look at maturities to match it?
Yes.
Because, overnight T-bill rates are well in excess of that right now.
Right. We are right now in the process of doing a full-blown assessment of our balance sheet as it relates to utilization of cash. And so coming off of those internal discussions, we'll have a much better handle on trying to match the utilization of our funds to various maturities. We're going to be looking at the demands as far as encumbrances relative to grants and the like. And so the idea is to just get really, really grounded around how much cash we've got that can be invested for a longer period of time to increase the yield on the portfolio.
We have a much deeper conversation in our finance department about our investments. I think we do it once a quarter.
Committee.
The committee meetings. I'll make sure I reach out to you and let you know when that conversation is going to be in the committee meeting, or you can look at I think it was last month, that committee, and feel free to give us a call and we can kind of walk you through some of that.
And just one final follow-up. So what's kind of your timeline to complete that analysis? And then
We would be aspiring to complete that analysis within the next 60 days.
It's interesting, so we kind of keep increasing that. You may have heard joke, I can't remember when you first joined, but at one point, a year ago, we had $30 million and we were getting 0.01 or something. So we were getting $1,000 of interest on $30 million. So we've expanded that greatly, and there's still some opportunity for sure.
Okay, we talked a little bit about some of the marketing plans that we have. We've got Dump the Pump summer weekends for the rest of the summer. Our service is free. The success on that is our first weekend was the weekend of July 2nd. Our ridership was up 18% on July 2nd, and July 3rd it was up 25%. Weekend 2, Saturday was up 21%, and Sunday was up 36%. So we had the week that we ran for free that we saw a really, really huge success in ridership increases, and we're seeing that as well for the weekend ridership. We also have a great summer giveaway. It's a social media program that we're running. We're going to give away some 30-day passes, as well as passes to the zoo, the music festival, Reds games, and things like that. I will mention this at every single solitary board meeting that we have. We are still hiring. We are always hiring. If you know anyone looking for a career change, it is a fantastic career to work here at Metro with lots of fantastic benefits. Please send anyone looking for a job our way. Last but not least, we are celebrating safety this month. So at 11 o'clock down at the Red Stadium, any of the board members that would like to join us, we would love to have you down there. And we are celebrating 2 of our operators that have been inducted into the nation's Safety Council 2 Million Mile Club. They've driven 2 million miles in their career without a preventable accident. We're really excited. A lot of other employees as well celebrating milestones. So if you can, please join us. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Suggestion? The hiring issue, is universal, okay? I mean,
Yes.
it's going to be for a long time. And I'm consulting with the agency out of Toledo, and one of the suggestions I made to them was organize an internal hire squad. That means the employees are now engaged in that whole hiring process. And actually, some of them sit in on interviews. I mean, it's got them all engaged. And all of a sudden, the negative conversations that we're having became positive.
Okay.
Because they were selling.
Okay.
Okay, just a thought.
Thank you very much. We right now, if an employee has a person come in and they put their name on their application, there is a bonus that the employees get for helping us hire.
Yeah, I mean, that's
But
wonderful.
I like that idea as well.
Yeah, they just call it the hire squad.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
You're happy with the free weekends? It's going well?
Yes.
Any discussion about like a weekday, like 1 weekday, or?
Yes.
Okay.
There are a lot more programs coming. The idea is we've got to get people
To try it.
to try the system and
try- yeah.
understand how well it works,
Yeah.
and how well it fits in their lives.
Yeah.
Because we believe that they will become riders. So when we ran the free week, we saw the uptick in ridership when it was free.
And then it stayed.
It didn't stay at that level, but we did see a nice bump after the free week was over. So we plan a number of other programs like that. We're planning some programs with different businesses where, a business can contact us and their entire employees pool can ride the bus for free for a week or 2 weeks or whatnot. We're really going to focus on getting people to try our system and make sure we're there to teach them how to ride the bus. If it means we take a bus to an event or to a business and they can all come out and see how to use it, we'll teach them how to use the app. But to get people on the bus to see how well it fits into their
Yeah.
lifestyle, how well it works.
And buses, and I would imagine that just the fact that we've added so much new equipment
Yes.
since COVID,
Yes.
Yeah.
that there's a whole lot of people who just haven't been on one of these new
Right.
buses. I mean, and if you get on a brand new bus, it's a radically different experience than.
It is.
And that's the key. When you
I
get
just did
people.
it for, R&R. I mean, it was really a good experience.
It's good.
Okay, that's the key. We've got to get people
Yeah.
on and try the bus, because when they get on, it's not the same bus as it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. They're very comfortable, and the system works. And as we add more and more service, it works even better.
I'm hosting a girls' trip, and everybody has a sponsor, right? And so my trip is on the bus.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah.
I tell you, I truly believe, not to, suck up to the chamber here, I think Blink, when all the people that got on the buses, because you couldn't
Ooh.
get downtown otherwise,
Yeah.
you had a huge surge of ridership after
Yeah.
that, right?
Yes,
it
we
was
really
just
did.
pre-COVID,
Yeah.
and it just, the timing messed up, but I think finding those opportunities where folks,
Yeah.
October 13th through 16th this
there you
year.
go. We're doing the same
Yeah.
stuff, right? So I think that those kind of events,
Even
where you
more.
have people that aren't regular riders or they have some special reason, are awesome. So we continue to think about how to engage the community that way.
And to go along with that, I think doing a, outer skirts, like a larger, greater Hamilton County reach for an event, for events like that, where we can truly publicize it for those specific pockets to come down and engage would be really great, because that's one of the reasons that us up north.
Well, and Craig mentioned
Don't
this.
venture down all these one ways.
Greg mentioned this at the last board meeting. I can't wait to show you guys Reinventing Metro Phase 2. It is really, really, really exciting, and it's going to mean a lot to the community. I mean, a lot. So within the next couple of months, we'll be bringing Reinventing Metro Phase 2 to the board, and we're really excited to show it to you. Ed and Steve's group, they're doing amazing work.
What are you guys doing? You tell me before.
But there's a lot more service out in the county. You'll be excited.
That event in particular.
It's great.
And we've got the Black Family Reunion coming up. So I haven't seen anything
Oh,
else.
yeah.
I haven't seen anything come out about that either for us for the smaller cities. So
That's
that we
gonna be
can
big.
get people down there. We need
Yeah,
to
that's gonna be
do
big.
that because
Is there parking issues and things with Black Family? I mean,
Oh, always.
yeah, I mean it's the last
Always.
one in the Midwest.
I don't mean to, sorry, I wasn't meant to be recommended, but I know like, basically all the city streets are shut down
Yeah.
and linked, right? So, hey, park here and we'll take you to the rest of the bus.
No, we're gonna
No,
do some things
I
different
mean,
this year.
So we're
Five
also
Point doesn't have a lot.
we're also asking all of the events to also promote using the bus, especially for the rest of the summer. On the
That'd be great.
weekends, the bus is free.
Great.
We need to see. Believe me, I just don't see it.
That's why I'm surprised the girls.
It's on TV.
Was it yo the bus?
Oh, that's probably why I don't watch TV. but-
All right. Thank you, Daryl. Any other questions for Daryl? Any other new business anybody wants to do? Move to
I'm sick of
adjourn.
these shootings.
Okay. Brennan has moved to adjourn.
Second.
All right.
Have
Thank
we
you,
been
everybody. Good
affected
meeting.
by crime at all? I don't know. That's shooting.